Hi everyone. Hi everyone on YouTube. Hi everyone on Zoom. It's so great having everyone on. It's another day, another live stream, and we're back with what is gonna be our last logline workshop. Not forever, but at least for a while, right? So if this is your guys' first time joining us for a workshop, then please let me know in chat. I'd love to know. I already see a couple of like familiar faces on Zoom and on YouTube, so I already know who you guys are. But for those of you who I'm seeing for the first time, let me know. Is this your guys' first time, or have you joined before but just never um let yourself be known, basically? Okay, hi everyone. Okay, plenty of first timers, and I'm guessing a lot of you. I joined the chat. Oh my goodness. Okay. How, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, then I'd love to know, like, what time is it wherever you guys are? What time is it? Where are you tuning in from? Love to know. Let's get to know each other a bit more before we start, because this is going to be the last, again, this is going to be the last logline workshop, so we got to make this count. Okay. Okay, it's pretty late for a lot of you. Oh my goodness, thank you guys so much for joining us so late. 1 a.m. in Poland. All right. Well, I hope you guys are still like alert and present for today's discussion, even though it's so late. So I hope you guys are ready to lock in, basically. So if you guys need to drink coffee to stay up because it's so late, then go ahead. All right. But who listens to parents at age 20? Oh my goodness. Thank you guys so much. All right, a lot of people are joining us. Oh my gosh, we have so many more people on YouTube today. Everyone is so enthusiastic, and I'm guessing it's because it is our last it is our last logline session. So, of course, people are tuning in. So yeah, I'm so happy to see everyone. Welcome everyone, welcome first timers, and also welcome repeat attendees, right? So I'm so happy to see you guys here. And before we get started, I'm Candace, right? I'm the regular host for these workshops, these live streams. So for our regular participants and our regular viewers, you guys already might already be familiar with me, right? But for those of you who are joining us the first time, I'm Candice. All right. So thank you guys so much for joining us. And today we will be basically teaching you guys how to hook your readers with one single sentence, right? And before we get started, I just want to know, are you guys ready? Just type I'm ready in chat. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. A lot of people are ready. I'm happy to see that. Happy to see that. All right. How about YouTube? Is everyone on YouTube ready? All right. Okay. Ready, hopefully. Born ready. I'm loving the confidence. I'm loving the enthusiasm. That's what we need for today's session, you guys. So yeah, sounds good. So if you guys are ready, then I have a scenario for you, right? So you're at an anime convention and you meet an editor from Weekly Shonen Jump in an elevator, and you have less than 30 seconds to tell them what your story is about. How will you do it? And how, for you guys on Zoom and for you guys on YouTube, like any um perhaps like guesses, or any, what's your take, basically? If you were in this scenario, what would you do, right? You can just like really quickly, maybe in just like one sentence, explain, right? You don't have to like go into like so much detail, right? Just immediate instinct, what do you do? Yeah. It's so over. Don't beat yourself don't beat yourself down, you guys. Try. How will you do it? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm seeing yikes, mine is longer than 30 seconds. I would literally insert the log line, right? Yeah, tell them a log line. Take the vibes on the characters and the enemy and goal. Huh. The MC. So do you mean explaining or like introducing the MC then? I tell them a brief summary of the work. I'll be concise. Yes. Please listen to me more for one more minute. Unfortunately, editors aren't so generous, especially if they're super busy. Yeah, just 1 to 2 sentences. All right, tell the main hook. All right, so everyone everyone pretty much got it, right? So, were you able to tell your story quickly and clearly? Like for some of you guys, I think some of you guys mentioned that your your explanation would have been longer than 30 seconds or even asking for like a 1 minute extension, right? Which is totally normal for like a beginner because like most beginners they don't even think about stuff like this, right? Because for most beginners they don't even know how to make manga yet, but then they're already then you have to think about, oh, if I meet an editor, what do I do? How do I sell my story? But it is something that we have to remind students in our program to think about, right? Especially if they're serious about making manga. This is something that you have to think about early on for sure because when you're making a manga, you're making you're telling a story for an audience, right? For readers. And if you want to get your story to like the right type of reader, to a larger readership, then that's what publishing is for. That's what editors are for. Editors are there to help bring your story to like a wider audience, right? So if you're serious about making manga and you're serious about bringing your story to like more people all over the world, then this is something that you have to think about, right? Because publishers read thousands of stories every day. They need a quick way to find the best ones, the ones that can get readers hooked. And that's where super short and interesting pitches come in. So, if you can sum up your story in 1 sentence, it really helps them notice your work. So, by the end of this training, you'll learn how to get your manga readers hooked with 1 sentence. All right. So, we will be breaking down 2 main steps: provide a clear idea of your main plot and central conflict, and two, identify your story's core elements. All right. So, core elements is basically like what's the message? What's the goal? What do you want your readers to think or feel? Right? Or what do you want people to take away from your story? All right. So, oh, real quick, real quick. Sorry about that, you guys. Okay. So now, why listen to us in the first place, right? Like, why are we holding this workshop in the first place? I mean, especially for a lot of you guys who are joining us for the first time, a lot of you might not be familiar with our content and who we are, right? So, here at Learn to Draw Manga, we have a program where we take pro Japanese mangakas, professionals from the manga industry, and we teach students from all over the world how to make manga, right? So the discussion for today's logline workshop is taken from lessons from our pro Japanese mangaka mentors, right? So these are our pro Japanese mangaka mentors, now Yazawa sensei and Renesaya sensei. Now, Yazawa sensei has been in the industry for about like 30 years now at this point, and she's the creator behind the iconic manga Wedding Peach, which actually got turned into an anime like back in the 90s. And Renesaya Sensei also worked on manga and collaborated on how to draw manga books and has published like how to draw manga books with publishers like Shogakukan, right? And both of them They've done it all. They've won contests, they've gotten published, they've taught beginner students in Japan how to draw manga. They know what they're doing, you guys. These are seasoned professionals. And we also have our mentors, pro webtoon artist Steph Pastrano and pro manga editor Vivi. Now, Steph Pastrano started out on social media as a fan artist of popular shonen series, and he's now the lead artist of an ongoing webtoon, right? And we also have the latest addition to our mentor roster, pro manga editor Vivi, who's had 10 years of experience in the industry, and she's worked on editorial teams for titles like Record of Ragnarok and Unsung Cinderella, and also worked with manga publishers like Kadokawa and Koomix. So if you guys are familiar with Koomix, Koomix are the organizers. They're the publisher behind the Silent Manga Edition, like one of the most popular like online manga contests out there, right? And in the last 3 years, we've worked with nearly 400 beginner anime and manga artists. And I just want to share a couple of our students and how much they've progressed in our program recently, right? So this is our student Cheese Wobble. We just interviewed him last week, going into detail about his progress being in the program and releasing a full one shot in our latest manga anthology. And yeah, he's had experience making manga before joining the program, but he was never really satisfied with his work, right? But 5 months into the program, and he's improved so much, already finishing two one shots, joining manga contests, and now on to his next project, right? And we also have our student Jamie, who's actually a PhD student in astrophysics, as I recall. And on the side, like aside from being a PhD student, he likes to draw manga, right? So despite Jamie's already busy schedule, he joined us earlier this year because he wanted to learn how to make manga. I'm sorry, not earlier this year, but earlier last year, I mean. So even with his busy schedule, he decided to join us because he wanted to learn, because he already loved storytelling and drawing, but he was just self-taught and wanted a structured way to learn manga. And in just 4 months, he leveled up from just short yonkomas to longer mangas, right? And we're here to take you to the next level and help you create a manga that you feel proud of. So, you've seen how we helped our students, and we're super excited to do this free training with you guys and also help you guys get to the next level. All right. So, are you guys excited? Just type I'm excited in chat. I want to know. Given that this is our last workshop, are you guys excited? We got to make this count, all right? So I need everyone's full attention. I need everyone to be present and I need everyone to be ready. All right? Okay, a lot screams in Mexican. Okay, a lot of people, everyone on Zoom is really excited. So is everyone on YouTube. All right. That's great, you guys. So, stick around if you have a unique story to share, but nothing to show after years of work and you feel overwhelmed by your long, complicated story and don't know where to start, and you believe it's your life's goal to share your story and are ready to commit, and you want to publish your manga, join contests, and eventually work with publishers. All right, so if you guys are still here, then congratulations. All right, just drop the clapping emojis in the chat section. For those of you guys who are attending today, taking the time out of your weekend to learn more about making manga and trying to take your manga making to the next level, just drop a clap emoji in chat. All right. Congratulations, you guys. Like, you guys staying here proves that you're the kind of mangaka that we're looking for, right? You believe in yourself, you believe in your own potential, and you want to learn, right? And we're ready to give you the tools to get to your goals, right? So give yourselves a round of applause, you guys. All right. And make sure to stay until the end for the Q&A because we'll also reveal how you can work with us if you're interested. I don't know if you might you might be interested in the program. We'll see. But yeah, we will also be opening like questions. If you guys have any questions about today's discussion, please leave it until the end for the Q&A as well. All right. So without further ado, if everyone is ready, let's bring in your coach for today, Coach Rem. Hi, Coach Rem. Can you please unmute, introduce yourself to our lovely audience for today?
Hello, hello everybody. Hello. My name is Rem. I am one of the coaches in the Learn to Draw Manga program. And I am an illustrator. I used to be an art director, and now I am also a TTRPG writer. And yeah, glad to meet you all. Thank you for joining today's broadcast. Hello, hello, hello. There we go. All right. So who's ready to begin our discussion about log lines? Everybody good? All right. There we go. There we go. Everybody's all good. All right. All right. So, to begin, let's know first what is a log line. Like earlier, it was discussed that it's something that you would pitch in an elevator if you happen upon like an editor or a relevant person in the publishing industry, right? So what's a log line? Um, so log line is basically a sentence that sums up what your story is about. It's a very quick statement about the things that are interesting about the one shot or the manga that you're planning. And it's used to quickly just sell it to whoever is listening, to publishers, producers, possible audiences, and it distills the essence of your story, right? Up next, so we know what the log line is. So how do we make a good log line? So the key to making a good log line is essentially to kiss, right? To keep it short and simple. So again, keep it short and simple. As discussed before, you only have 30 seconds to essentially sell your idea. Keep it short, simple, short because you don't have enough time, and simple so that folks who are listening to you can understand your idea much easier. And if ideas are much easier to understand, they're much more, they feel much more welcome to somebody in your audience, to somebody who's listening. Okay. So, what constitutes a log line? So, log line, as was discussed before, is
Oh, sorry. Coach Ram froze. Let me see. Might be technical difficulties. All right. Let's give him a minute, you guys. His internet has been struggling for a while. All right. No, no, no. Coach Rem just Coach Rem just got he was just frozen. Yeah, he cut off. Sorry about that, you guys. Yeah. Let's give him a second. Let's give him a few seconds. All right. No, you guys are good. You guys are good. It wasn't lag. Right. For those of you guys who are caught up on the Jujutsu Kaisen anime, this is exactly this is like Takaba after her Wi-Fi. Yeah.
there we go. There we go. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. You're good. You're
There
good.
we go. There we go. All right. All right. I just got yoinked into the shadow realm, but we're back. We're back. All right. So anyway, as I was saying, your story, it needs a protagonist and they need a goal and they have to encounter something that would try to hinder what they're trying to do. And then what would happen if that antagonistic force succeeds? And as a consequence, your logline must also include those elements. So remember, you need to mention your protagonist, whatever they're trying to do, what is their goal, What is the force that is working against the protagonist? What is the conflict? And what are the stakes? What happens if they fail? So those are the four elements that you would need to include when writing your log line. So everything understood? Everything clear so far? There we go. There we go. All right. All right. Quick learners, everybody. Okay. So, as a way for you guys, or for anybody for that matter, to write an a log line quickly, here's an ideation formula. So let's start with a when, and then followed by an inciting incident. So what's an inciting incident? It's something that happens within the story that shakes the status quo of your protagonist. And then afterwards, in the formula, there needs to be a descriptor. It's a descriptor that would make your primary character, your protagonist, interesting, right? And then after, we need a role or an age. Uh, could be anything that would be an in setting title or uh, placement of your protagonist. So are they an office worker? Are they a teacher? Are they a 16-year-old? Any of those aforementioned things. Okay. And then as was discussed, you also need a goal or something they need to do. And then what happens if they fail to get to the goal or if they don't do what they need to do. So again, inciting incident, you would need an adjective or a descriptor. And then what is their role within the story, followed by the goal or the action, something they need to do or something they want, and something that would happen, something bad that would happen if they lose, if they don't get to their goal. Okay? So let's check this example first. All right? So let's read together. When a vengeful spirit who haunts the music room resists moving on, a flamboyant idol-like spirit medium must find a way to exorcise her, or else the spirit will fall deeper into despair and continue to haunt the music room. So as is color-coded in this example of ours, we need the inciting incident first. And in this logline, the inciting incident is a vengeful spirit who haunts a music room, resists moving on. So this is the thing that uh, the protagonist would encounter that would shake their status quo, right? Then followed by the adjective, which is a descriptor for our protagonist. In this logline example, it is a flamboyant idol-like, and then blank. So it comes first before the actual like role of your protagonist. Then afterwards, what's their role or what's their age? Yeah, any of those two. What are they within the story? In this case, they're a spirit medium. Our protagonist is that. All right. And then afterwards, what do they need to do? What's their goal or what's the action they need to take? In this logline example, he or they must find a way to exorcise the aforementioned spirit. So after that, once that has been resolved or written down, you need to consider or think of something bad that would happen. And then in this case, the bad thing that would happen is the spirit will fall deeper into despair and continue to haunt the music room. All right. So this example checks all of the things that are stated in our logline ideation formula. All right. Any questions so far? Everybody good? Oh, does this work for slice of life too? Yes, yes. Every story needs an inciting incident. Otherwise, a story doesn't happen. Um, every story needs a protagonist to have a goal. Otherwise, what are they gonna do? Okay. Every story's protagonist, they need something interesting about them. Otherwise, why would we be interested in them? And then, of course, everybody has a role. Everybody fits into their own place in a story or in real life, right? And then every story needs stakes. Otherwise, it will feel shallow. So what, like, why even bother following if there's no conflict, there's no drama, there's nothing that would happen if they fail. There's no consequence. So every single element in the ideation formula for the logline is necessary. Is it possible that your story may be too complicated to summarize in a sentence? It could be, but it's up to you if you're pitching your story and you only have 30 seconds, right? So that's your problem. How do you make your complicated story interesting? And and then how do you describe that in 30 seconds? That's what we're trying to uh, get across here. Are there certain words that will make a log line pop? We'll find out soon. All right. All right. Moving on. Let's look at a second log line example. So this one states that when Yumiko resists moving on, Rensei must find a way to exorcise her, or else she will fall deeper into despair and continue to haunt the music room. Okay, so what is our inciting incident? It says that Yumiko resists moving on. So what's the problem with this inciting incident? Keep in mind that uh, you need to try to read this from an outsider's perspective. Think of yourself as like a layman hearing a person say this log line in front of you. Yeah, Shahar is absolutely right. Who who in the world is Yumiko? Who we're we're going by a first name basis and we don't know who she is yet, right? And then the goal is pretty much like well stated. He must find a way to exercise the spirit, but that is like dropped within the logline without any prior context. So the goal is well made, but it's out of place. Okay, so then what are the stakes in the story? So she will fall deeper into despair and continue to haunt the music room. Again, it's well constructed, but in the context of this log line or in the way it's made or written down, it doesn't make sense. It's out of place. There are no supporting details in the log line um, that would put emphasis on on these consequences. Okay, so what's the adjective for whoever our protagonist is? Nothing, right? We don't see it. Like, who are they? What makes them interesting? We don't know. And then what's their role within the story? It's missing. It's also missing. What is in place of it is just some random name. Like, who even is Rense? Who even is Yumiko? We don't know, right? So this try to avoid this way of writing your logline. You should not depend on specific character names, specific insetting terms. Try to be as general as possible while being as descriptive as possible. Does that make sense? There we go. Jensen picked it up. Wanja also picked it up. There we go. All right. Okay. And then in the end, why are we even writing log lines? Why are we even trying to make them concise and clear, right? So in the end, when we are aspiring mangakas, if we are somebody who would want their stories to be put out in the world, um, you're writing a log line so that people can know about it and then make them care about your story. And we make them care by getting their interest, basically, right? because manga is an entertainment um, field, right? So interest comes first, and then if people are interested, they would care. All right. So you shouldn't name a character, but a short summary. Yes, basically. Because if you put specific names, like in the bad example of a logline, we know their name, but who are they? Let's say you see somebody in the street and you have a power to know exactly what their name is. You know their name, but who are they? Who are they really? Right? Okay. So, like I said, the answers that the logline must give is the logline must state what your protagonist want to achieve, who is standing in their way or what, could be any antagonistic force, like I said, and then what are the stakes? What are the consequences of failing in your story? Okay, so in the end, these are the important elements that will make people care and make people interested. So this time, as always, in this uh, workshop, we are gonna try and write one log line for your story. All right. So with one log line, you need to fulfill these four elements: your protagonist, their goal, their the conflict within the story, and then the stakes or the consequences. All right. And to make things easier, let's follow the logline ideation formula, um, which is here in front of you. All right. Everybody ready? All right. All right. Everybody's ready. So how much time do we give? Do we give them like 10 minutes or so? Right?
Yeah, we can give them 10 minutes.
There we go. All right. So when I start this timer, everybody grab you. We're gonna start writing their log lines. So everybody get your writing tools, get your notepads if you're working on a mobile device or on PC. And we'll begin writing your log lines in 3, 2, 1, go. Good luck.
Oh, Juan is saying 10 minutes is too much. Should we should we cut it down to 5 minutes? Up to you guys. But 10 minutes, this is assuming that you guys um don't have a log line ready. So this is in consideration for the ones that don't have a log line at the ready, right? So you guys have enough time to just put together a single sentence. All right.
Okay, there we go. All right. How was it, everybody? Was it hard? Was it easy? Do you have your log lines prepared before the session even began? How was it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Mhm. Super hard. More or less prepared. Okay. It was difficult. I see. I see. Okay. It was difficult a bit. Thought about it from before. Gotcha. I'm afraid to share. Oh no. First time I managed to think of a log line for a particular story. Okay. 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 So we're gonna run through a couple of you guys' logline submissions. Okay? So the first one we're gonna do is um Navi. Is that how I say it? Navhe? Um, if you are able to, could you unmute? Maybe join us in the discussion. Nave, if you're here. Just unmute and say hi, and then we'll continue. We'll proceed with your log line. All right? Oh, I see. Okay.
Hi, I can unmute now.
Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. All right. All right. Okay. So let's take a look at your log line. Your log line is when monsters come out of a comic book, a smart elementary student must find a way to defeat them, or else they'll take over the world. I like this. I like this. It's short. It's simple. Um, there is there's an interesting like shonen-esque element to it. And then who doesn't like powerful, smart kids like beating up monsters, and also like the promise of a comic book aesthetic. So, well constructed um, logline, Nave. Uh, and I'm quite curious what form will the smartness of this elementary student will take form in. All right. Any questions?
Like you said, it's very shonen-like. I like a lot of shonen,
Mm-hmm.
and the smartness will come like when it's doing math in the middle of the fight in order to defeat them.
Ah,
Like calculate the angles of the attacks and dodges and jumps out of buildings with
mhm.
the right angle to defeat flying opponents that he can't reach and stuff like
Ah.
that.
I see, I see. It's giving me what's that manga? It's a Mahotawaru index if you guys are familiar. A certain magical index or something. And or it's like sister series a certain magical rail gun. It's giving that kind of vibe. So thank you, Navi, for the submission. Well constructed. All right. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. Hold on, give me one sec. Okay, there we go. There we go. Let's take a look at the next one. Vega, would you be able to join our discussion and unmute? Just unmute and say hi, and then we'll go over your log line. Vega, if you're here, you say hi. Ah, that's unfortunate. Okay. Um, let's see if Vega comes or manages to fix their mic. But we'll try to come back to it. How about Xavier? Javier? Am I saying that right? Would you Are you able to unmute and join our discussion?
Hello,
There we go. There we go. Hello, hello. How are you? How's it
doing
going?
good. Great.
All right. Good, good. All right. Nice to hear. So let's take a look at this log line. In a world that's being ravaged by a string of calamities, a woman wants to somehow um, revive her family, lost to one of them, or else she too will succumb. All right. Hmm. I think this is an interesting example. Like, even if we don't follow the formula, there's still the inciting incident. Um, although my comment about the inciting incident is what exactly happens in this like string of calamities? Like, how does it come about? And then I would probably want more descriptors of this woman, like what makes him interesting. But I do see the angle of the this whole ordeal is what makes them interesting, right? And then what is what she's trying to do? She's trying to somehow revive her family, right? So that's the inciting incident that's in there, that fulfills the condition. And then what's at stake? What are the consequences? So the consequences for this in this logline or in this story is she too will succumb. Um, the main issue you want to fix in the statement of the stakes for your logline is, in what way will she succumb? Like, what does that take form in? Will she succumb in terms of like, will she die? Will she also like lose something? Yeah, what else? What would happen? Right? So just fix what are missing. Give more descriptors about the inciting incident, like what exactly is this string of calamities, and then also like expound on the stakes. Like, what specifically will she succumb to? All right. Any questions, Xavier? Okay. Okay.
Um,
Okay. There we go. So, let's go back to Vega. Vega, is your issue fixed? Maybe. Just say hi in if you're able to unmute.
Okay, we can go back to Vega and give them a bit of time, you
Mm-hmm.
guys. Okay. So
Okay.
before we go into the next submission, right? Before we proceed with Vega, if Vega is still around, right? I just need to like talk to you guys for a second. All right. So while coming up with your manga idea, like, did you guys think it was an awesome idea, but couldn't figure out how to make it work as a manga? Or did you think your drawing skills aren't good enough to show how cool your story is? Or did you still struggle to come up with a good idea? Let me know. Just type yes in the chat, you guys. I want to know, like, maybe some of you, I know some of you might, this might be your first time like coming up with a log line, or maybe coming up for a story for a manga. So maybe one of this resonates, right? Okay, a lot of yeses in chat. Yeah, I see you guys. I see you guys. Yes to the drawing part. Yeah. Everyone on YouTube as well. Okay, a lot of yeses. A lot of people saying like, yeah, yeah. Already have a rough idea, a bit scared to start. All right. Yes, you get stuck with many ideas. All right. So if any of you guys answered yes to any of these questions, then we're inviting you to apply to our online one-shot manga drawing program. Because in our program, you'll get the opportunity to work with our Japanese pro mangaka mentors and be part of an awesome community of aspiring mangaka like yourself. And just like our students, you'll learn everything from manga drawing basics to crafting a full one-shot manga from start to finish, right? And just to highlight a couple of our students' progress, we have our student Sage, who worked on their manga, their one-shot manga for our anthology in just a month, right? From thumbnails to final pages. They finished everything, right? And there's such a massive difference between what they started with to what they ended up with, right? And this is a type of manga that Sage had been dreaming of making even before they joined the program, right? And we also have our student Coco. Now Coco also got their one shot published in our manga anthology, and she finished it in just 2.5 months. That's 2.5 months, you guys. And that's from storyboard to final pages. Managed to make her manga from scratch in just 2.5 months, and such a massive difference already. And we also have our student Courtney, who joined us back in 2024 and finished her one shot like a year later, right? So when she joined us, she already knew how to draw. She wanted to learn more about how to actually make a manga and improve her storyboarding and overall visual storytelling skills. And this is what she had to say about the program, right? I like the sense of community and friendliness this group has fostered among itself and its members. My favorite part of being in this program is the privilege of getting critiques from mangaka instructors who have firsthand experience in this field, and being able to converse with them and have them critique my work has given me a better understanding of what I should and shouldn't do. So, you've seen our students' results, you read how happy they are with the community and guidance from our mentors. So now the question is, do you guys want in too? Just type I want in the chat. All right. So for those of you who want in, like, do you guys want to start making manga? Or for those of you who have made manga before, but are still struggling, do you guys want to keep making manga but make better progress, right? And actually get feedback and get mentorship from professionals in the manga industry, right? So just type I want in, you guys. And for those of you guys who want in, I will be sending a link in chat. So just give me a second. You guys, okay. Give me a second. But in the meantime, we can go ahead then, Coach Rem. For those of you guys who want in and you have questions about the program, then just stay until the end for the Q&A. But in the meantime, let's get into the final logline that'll be reviewed for today's session. Coach Rem?
Oops. Sorry. I'm here. Vega has arrived. Is Coach Rub there?
He's dealing with his mic. Let's give him a second.
I'll stand by.
But hi, Vega. I'm glad that your mic works now. That was a bit of an ordeal to get to here, but we're finally here.
There we go. All right. How's it going? How's it going? All right. So, thank you for submitting this log line. And then let's take a look at it, right? So let's read. Vega's log line says that when a brutal beating by amateur boxers was recorded at school, a reserved people pleaser must master boxing under the lens of an aspiring filmmaker or lose his chance of personal growth and reconnecting with his childhood friend turned bully. Wow. Lots of twists and turns. Well, first off, like our protagonist is a people pleaser, so lots of issues and interesting pieces of drama there, and they get brutally beat at school. Another like insertion of drama, and then why must they master boxing under an aspiring filmmaker? Who knows? But, it gets our interest going. Like we question why must they train under a filmmaker, not an official boxing trainer, right? And then they must also go on a journey of personal growth, or else losing their chance to reconnect with their childhood friend turned bully. So lots of interesting pieces of drama in here. All of the elements are present. I would say this has like really high promise as like maybe a battle shonen, a realistic like sports slash slice of life manga, or an introspective, realistic seinen. So strong promise for this log line. Well done, Vega.
Thank you.
Thank you for
I got,
submitting this.
sorry
Any
to
questions,
interject.
by the way?
I got inspired by, let's say, Rocky, Hajime no Ippo, and a bit of
Of
Haikyuu.
course. Yeah.
So I had
Yeah.
a lot of time making the story. I have it
Mhm.
all written down. I'm just making drafts for it.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say like it reminded me of the like Ipo's bullies. Then when he won his first like amateur like bout, they became his like number one supporters at school, right? That reminded me of this or this story reminded me of that element of Ipo, right? So well done, really interesting pitch. Thank you for this, Vega.
Thank
Nicely
you too.
nicely constructed. Okay, lots of interesting ideas from everybody who we picked. But then I've also seen like quite a lot of also um, like interesting and out there pitches. Even if you didn't get picked, I please continue like developing your ideas. All right. So yeah, here we go. There. Where are we? So thank you for everybody who submitted, and I'll be passing it back to Candice.
Okay, hi everyone. So give me a second before I share my screen. All right. Okay. So, real quick you guys. That's all, those are all of the log lines that we'll be reviewing today. So now, like my question is like how was making your log line? Like what did you struggle with? What did you enjoy most? Like share your insights in chat. I'd love to go over them while we have the time, right? Because like if especially if this is your guys' first time, I'd love to know everyone's like experience doing this for the first time. Or maybe this might be your first time joining our workshop, but you've made a log line before. I don't know, right? So let us know, what was the experience like? I mean, I know a lot of people might have been struggling, especially struggling with like coming up with a really short, concise idea for a story. Maybe that's something you guys are struggling with. If so, like feel free to share it in chat. Yeah, need to do so much more work on my logline skills, maybe editing the logline. Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, especially if it's your guys' first time, it's natural. I mean, there's a bit of a learning curve there, coming up with ideas, especially if you've never written before or never like come up with a story before. It takes a bit of practice for sure. I had some trouble sorting my ideas out. There were a few big themes or points in my idea, so it was a bit difficult to get a clear point across. Yeah, I mean, the whole context of this whole logline workshop is that we're creating an idea for a one shot, right? So being able to explain your whole one shot idea in 30 seconds is much easier than coming up with a log line for like a full series, because for a full series there's like so many plot points, right? um Especially like, for example, like One Piece, it would be difficult to come up with like a log line for One Piece. There is a log line for One Piece, that's for sure. But if you're not someone who's figured out like the all of the things about all of the points or the whole story of your manga series, right, then it might be difficult to come up with a log line for such like a big idea, you know. But that's why we're setting this in the context of a one shot, because it's easier for you guys to think about, right? Smaller story, better to think, easier way to like come up with a log line, right? Yeah, the log line could maybe be a bit longer for a big idea. Yeah, for sure. Um, Al Hassan says, absolutely not my first rodeo. Consistency has been quite the bully. The hardest part, though, in inciting incidents and consequences for failure. Yeah, coming up with logical consequences can be hard sometimes. Yeah, I think if you're having trouble coming up with like consequences or inciting incidents, then perhaps like the type of inciting incident or the type of conflict you're thinking about might be too complex. You might be overcomplicating it. So what we would our typical advice would be, go back to basics, start with something simple. Let's say an inciting incident is for a typical like for a typical maybe short and sweet like shoujo one shot might be like, a girl has a crush on a guy and she confesses to him, that sort of thing, right? That's a very typical like inciting incident. And you can take inspiration from your favorite manga, you know, like take an inciting incident from your favorite manga and put your own spin on it. Just a way to practice. Yeah. I struggled. Jovareth says, I struggled with characterization, but I did enjoy the themes. That's fun. That's fun. All right. How about people on YouTube? Let me see. Joshua from YouTube says, I know where I want to take my series, but I just struggle with expressing my character in a short sentence. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much where most beginners start. And yeah, I agree with Cynico. Cynico says, don't be hard on yourselves, especially if you haven't done it before. Exactly. Exactly. For Might, Might, I'm just gonna call you Might. I'm sorry. Might from YouTube says, for me, it wasn't hard because this is a story I have been thinking about for a while now. And glad for you. Good for you. Struggled with dialogues for a logline. There's no dialogue in a logline, but I imagine you mean like struggled with dialogues as you were making your manga, maybe, or coming up with the script for your manga. Yeah. So Airborne says, I liked how it gave me a clear image of it in my head. And that's precisely like what a logline is supposed to do. It's supposed to give a clear image to the person that you're pitching it to. Right. So you could be pitching this logline to an editor, you could be pitching it to a friend or someone you want to read your manga, right? Like who isn't familiar with your work. This is why a logline is so useful. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So now, you guys, remember these tips, right? Once you start making your next log line or once you start coming up with an idea for your next project, perhaps, remember these tips that Coach Rem shared. Keep it short and simple, highlight the character's goal, conflict, and stakes. Explore different angles as well. You can take one log line and like revise it over and over again until you get to a pitch that you feel like is intriguing enough and explains your story concisely, right? And once you have your log line, test it, right? Test one version of your log line with like your friends or maybe random people that you meet online. I don't know. And if one logline isn't delivering the sort of like reaction that you want or the sort of reaction you would expect to get for your story, then test out a different version and like see if it works better with other people, right? So that is how you hook readers with one sentence, you guys. And for those of you who are still joining us, please make sure to stay until the end for the Q&A, right? Because the session isn't over. I know a lot of you guys may still have questions about log lines for Coach Rem or maybe about the program, right? So make sure to stay until the end for the Q&A. And for those of you guys who said that they want in, so if you want to make your time making manga more meaningful and more productive, then our online one-shot manga drawing program is for you because we're on a mission to accelerate your growth, all while having fun learning together, and you will have, again, amazing pro mentors to guide you, like Naoyazawa Sensei and Renasaya Sensei, both with 50 years of experience, combined 50 years of experience in the Japanese manga industry. And we have mentors like Steph Pastrano, who's a webtoon artist, and pro manga editor Vivi with over 10 years of experience in the industry. And of course, for the lucky people who join the program and perform really well, like for the most committed and high performing students at our program, they get a chance to go to Japan, right? Because we're sending our top performing students on an all expense paid trip to Japan to attend the biggest comic convention in Tokyo, Comitia, right? And at Comitia, you'll get the rare opportunity to pitch your manga to Japanese publishers in person. And of course, you will get to publish your one shot manga in our next manga anthology. So our manga anthology, this is basically a compilation of all of our students' works, of our students' one shots, finished one shots, by the way, after going through like rounds of revisions with our mentors, working on it with our mentors, with our coaches. You'll get to release your one shot in our next anthology, and we'll be releasing the second volume of our anthology later this year, around mid-year, around that time. I'm not gonna announce like the date yet because we're still preparing for it, but for sure, just so you guys know, some of our students have already started working on their one shots for the next anthology. So if you guys want a chance to get published in our next anthology or maybe get a chance to go to Japan, then I do encourage you guys to apply to the program. And the manga consultation is free. So you can just hop on a call with us for free, no charge, no hidden fees or whatever. It's totally free. And we can just talk, right? Talk about you, talk about what you want to do, what your goals are, and like try to figure out if we can help you, right? And we're not just taking in anyone. We want to work with aspiring manga artists who want to be empowered. So this is for you if you're at least 18 years old and comfortable to write and speak in English. You're a beginner who wants to learn how to draw manga and start telling your own stories, and you have a passion for manga and dream of getting published or winning contests with your original manga, and you're seeking confidence in a supportive community to share your art and grow as a manga artist. So, if this sounds like you, then again, I invite you guys to apply and join our one shot manga drawing program. And again, we only accept applicants who are 18 years old and above. All right. So if you apply and you submit an application and you're 18 years old, then we're not going to hop on a call with you. All right. So we don't accept minors into the program. You got to be 18. So if you guys have the time, make sure to book a free manga consultation call with us in the next couple of weeks, you guys, because we're only taking in limited slots. We're talking to people every day, basically, and we only have so much time to talk to people every day. So you got to book your slot now while you still can. All right. So the link is in chat. I'll just paste it again over here. And for those of you guys on YouTube, the link is pinned in the chat section as well. So, for those of you guys who apply, let me know if you've applied, if you've submitted your application, let me know in chat. All right? But in the meantime, let's open the floor to your guys' questions. All right? So, Shahar has submitted their application. Congrats, Shahar. I'm so glad. I'm can't looking forward to seeing your application then, because I do like see your guys' applications and I do review them from time to time, and I love like seeing like your guys' applications and the works that you guys have made before. So yeah, let me know. Let me know. Has anyone applied already before we start? Aside from Shahar, I'd love to know. Mm. The call itself, you guys, is free. So when you book a call, it's free. Like you don't have to pay anything, no hidden fees. But getting admitted into the program, that's when it's paid. The program itself is paid. Admission into the program is paid. But the call to talk about admission and to talk about possibly like getting into the program, like the consultation call, I mean, that's free, right? Because we don't want to let people pay to just talk to us, basically. So you don't have to pay to just talk to us. You can talk to us here on the channel. You can talk to us through the consultation call if you're specifically interested about joining the program, which is a paid program. All right. And if you want to talk about like admission pricing, then that's discussed during the call because it'll depend on your situation, basically. Yes, Denton already applied. Thank you, Denton. Congrats. Can't wait to see your application. Okay, so we'll be accepting questions now. If you guys have questions for the log line, feel free to send it in chat. If you guys have questions about the program, I'll answer them as well. What's your guys' definition of top performing? Like for that full expense paid. So the definition for top performing right now is if you manage to complete a one-shot project that we think that the mentors, especially like the pro Japanese mangaka mentors and our pro manga editor and also our team believes is good enough to show to editors at Comitia. Yeah. So it's a variety of factors that go into determining if someone is top performing or if they're good enough to go to Comitia. It's the mentors all have to agree on it, like the team has to agree on it. Unknown sketcher applied. Yay! For the consultation call, for Kane, you can book a call whenever is convenient for you. So when you apply through the link that I just sent, you can select a date for your call, basically. So we'll give you like the available dates and the available times, and then you just pick. Okay, so Coach Rem, we have a question from Anna. So Anna asks, is it okay to compare yourself with other works? I always do that, and sometimes it boosts my motivation, but sometimes it just makes me give up.
Good question. I think this is not really like a question about like making manga. It's more about making art in general. There are pros and cons to it, right? So the pro of comparing your work with another artist is you can see the difference between your own approach and then the other artist's approach, right? Um, you could either take the difference as like the difference in your uh like way of thinking or like the difference in your skill level. So essentially, it's a way for you to assess where you're at in terms of how well you draw, how efficient you draw, and all sorts of things. But then the same thing has like a double edge, right? If you're comparing yourself and then it only like demotivates you, well, um, that is not a healthy place to be. Neither is it a healthy place for you to approach um you a form of like self editing or self criticism, right? So it's not really like a bad thing per se. There is a good and bad side to it. It's just a matter of like how would you take the comparison? Do you take it as like a jib or a jab against your own skill, or do you find it as an opportunity to learn from other people's art? You know? And there's a million different factors affecting like the quality of someone's art. For example, it's not fair to compare the art of someone who has only been drawing for like 2 months versus an artist who's like has like 30 years under their belt in terms of work in a professional environment, right?
Yeah.
Ye-
Okay, we have another question. Wait. Okay, we have a question from Code One. Is it wrong to be hellbent on future serialization and just working on the first chapter, even though you have the main points of the plot ready? What do you think, Coach Ron?
Where I'm trying to scroll up to Code One's question. Okay. Is it wrong to be hell-bent on future serialization, just working on the first chapter, even though you have the main point of the plot ready? Um, Try to think of it this way. If people aren't made interested by your first chapter, why even go through the effort of like plotting out the rest of the story or what follows? So in the industry of manga, ideas live and die through the process of making one shots. And your main goal is to get a publisher interested in your idea by making a concise and well constructed short form story, aka a one shot, right? So, probably the best way you can approach it is try to make a one shot first before even considering making a first chapter. Because if the one shot is good enough, the publisher will get sold on your idea, and then you are as basically taken on board to make the longer form of your story. If your one shot is not good enough, publishers won't get interested, and um, either you find somewhere else or somebody else who would be interested in your idea, or you make another idea. So don't think of it as like making the first chapter good right away. Make a short form of your bigger story good, make that into a one shot, and then pitch to a publisher. So that's the cycle um of mangaka of mangaka trying to break into the industry.
Okay, we have a raised hand from Remas. So Remas, what was your question, Remas? Can you feel free to like send it again in chat? But yeah, before Remas, we have a question from Euro. How would you recommend to focus on a one shot? Would it be like telling the beginning of the story or a general idea of the whole series?
Whose question are we looking at?
Euro.
Yero. How would you recommend to focus on a one shot? Would it be like telling the beginning of the story or a general idea of a whole series? Um, what you want to sell in a one shot is your protagonist. Make sure you make an interesting character. Figure out a simple but interesting story for them to go through within the one shot, and then end it satisfyingly. That's how you would want to focus on a one shot. Because if you think of it as like the beginning of the story, well, there has to be some interesting moment that happens in the beginning, right? If it's a teaser to a potential interesting moment in the story, well, it's a teaser, right? You're not getting the full extent of the story. Or if you try to view it as like a general idea of the whole series, well, a remnant of the idea of the whole series must still be in the one shot, right? So let's say the general idea of the series is like chefs fighting against possessed food. That idea must still be in the one shot. But like I said, the main thing you want to focus on is sell a protagonist and then create an interesting but simple story around your protagonist. And then you make the ending as satisfyingly conclusive as possible. So it's like a self-contained story that a publisher can like browse, go over, and see how you make a protagonist, make a good story, and make a good ending. Get those three things sorted when making a one shot. Okay, does that make sense, Euro?
Yeah.
So something that wouldn't necessarily happen in canon. It'll just have to be shown. Yep. Yep. Think of it this way. In the one shot for Naruto, he's not human. He's a fox. He's a fox in the one shot. Like he is literally a kitsune spirit. But then in the longer form of Naruto, he's a kid. He's a human, right? So things can change, but the main thing you want to sell is an interesting protagonist, an interesting premise, a good story, and a good ending. Can't a one shot be like a pilot of your story? What's a pilot? If I may ask everybody, what's a pilot to you? Does anybody know what a pilot means in the context of the entertainment industry? Correct. Jose is absolutely correct. A pilot is the one shot for TV shows. If a pilot, in the context of the entertainment industry, a pilot is a self-contained story that has the element of the broad idea. This is in relation to what Yero was asking before. So the pilot is something that a producer or a director can show to like network TV or in the context of manga to publishers to get them sold on an idea, to get them sold in a protagonist. So if the one shot doesn't, or the pilot or the one shot doesn't land, well, the show is dead. There's no show that comes after. There are no more further um, chapters. There are no more further episodes. So make sure that the pilot is, or in this case, the one shot is good.
All right.
So
We
it
have
could be
oh sorry.
to answer Nave's question. It could be, but make sure that it's a self-contained story. I'm gonna repeat this again. Self-contained story, interesting protagonist, interesting premise, and then satisfying ending.
Hmm. Okay. We have time for about like two more questions before we end. So let's take one from Zoom and one from YouTube. All right.
Mm-hmm. Go. Yeah, no problem. No problem.
So from YouTube. Okay. Joshua asks, will this help me be able to make my series more unique and stand out? Because I struggle with making my series more unique and not a carbon copy of other series I like. Okay, what would be your advice for that, Kotram? Like how to make
Hmm.
a idea stand out? And like will this like basically will having a log line help him like make his idea more unique or come up with a more unique idea?
Mm. That's a good question because we're treading on the concept of originality now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I would say that I think it's a good idea of with looking up to like artists you like, stories you prefer, stories you would enjoy, but make sure that you're not making essentially a fan fiction or a reskin of that story. Make sure you still have your own voice come through because everybody has their own voice regardless of how they're saying the same thing. If you're saying the same thing, right? Make sure you put your own like personal experience into it. I think that would make the story unique, like your own personal insights.
All
So yeah,
right.
say your story with your own voice. The concept could be similar, but tweak it so it's your own story. Insert your own experiences, your own like things you picked up from different sources, that kind of thing.
Okay. So one question from Zoom from Jensen. You can scroll to Jensen's question. Like, so does the one shot have to be actually something from your story, like an actual scene you plan to narrate, or can it just be like a movie trailer thing where you make up scenes that get the larger idea across?
Um, it could be, like I said, it could be the beginning um of your story, or it could be an isolated like event. It could be even non-canon. But the main thing is again, make sure it's interesting, make sure your protagonist is likable, somebody you want to root for, and end it satisfyingly. So it could be an in-canon event, it could be a non-canon event.
Okay. So last one. Like we had a question from it's for me. Like we had a question from Might who asks like what if I just want a consultation and feedback on my work or ideas? Would I need the program for that? So the call we only talk to people who do and are intent on joining the program, and we review their work on top of it and to assess if they could be good for the program. So if you're just coming onto the call just to get your work looked at, then we won't be accepting you. All right. So you got to come onto the call because you want to join the program, not just because you want to get you want to get free feedback. Okay, that's not how this works. So you would if you feel like you need more help, you want to work with professional mangakas, you want to work with a pro manga editor, right? Then apply, right? And then we'll talk about you, about like your work, like review some of your work and then talk about like what your goals are basically, right? So again, the call isn't just for review. All right. Okay. Now that is all the time that we have for today, you guys. So last time I'm sending the link in chat. So we only have limited slots for this week. So if you guys wanna join the program and you guys want help with your manga journey, then I do encourage you guys to go and apply and book a call with us today. And with that said, I do want to leave you guys with this question. It's something that we always end our lessons on. Like, where will you be tomorrow if you start today? Like, I know some of you guys may still be unsure. I know some of you guys may still think that, oh, do I actually want to learn how to make manga? And then do I actually want to get like make considerable progress? I mean, is this something that I actually want to pursue? Right? So those for you guys, you might still be figuring out. I encourage you, like if it's something that you love, then go for it. But for those of you who already figured it out and are already intent on making manga and like doing this seriously, then what's holding you back, right? Why for those of you who are do want to do it seriously but maybe you're still stuck or maybe you're struggling, right? Or not making enough progress as you'd like, right? So think about what's making you stuck. And if typically when we speak to a lot of beginners, the typical roadblock is that, oh, I don't feel like I'm good enough. Oh, I don't think I have the right skills. Oh, I don't think g- I'm the right type of person to pursue a career like this, right? So it's I get it, but it shouldn't be reason for you to not pursue something that you know you would love doing, right? So every dream, every goal, and every aspiration, right, is within your reach if you just take that leap of faith and like take action, right? Because you'll never know until you try. And if you don't try now, then when, right? If you just keep on pushing it back, you'll never do it, right? So you just got to force yourself to take that leap. And I challenge you guys to take that leap, right? So if you guys want to learn more about making manga, you can feel free to subscribe to our channel and learn from our free resources on the channel, from our free tutorials. But if you want even more help and make even more progress, right, and actually get concrete feedback from professionals, then go ahead and apply to the program, right? So that concludes our final logline workshop for a while now. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys had fun. If you guys applied, again, let me know. I love to shout you out. But yeah, I hope you guys had fun. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys learned a lot. And Coach Ram, like, do you have any like last words for our students for today?
Hmm. Last words. I would say, um, think more about your stories. Like, an idea is the first step, but creating is not the same as knowing, you know? Our parents created us, but they don't know 100% who we are. unless we are completely open. So it's easy to create something. It's hard to understand and know something. So think more about your stories, basically. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and don't give up on your stories, you guys. You might be, I know a lot of beginners, like me personally, I've had some writing experience, like coming up with stories for sure, not for manga, but just like stories in general. So it's so easy to give up on an idea, if you feel like it's too hard to work on. But I do encourage you guys, if you're the type of person who struggles with ideation, just in general, or just like coming up with like story ideas, then don't throw your ideas in the trash so quickly as well. Like I'd like you could keep it in reserve, right? Just take note of it, come back to it after you take some time away from it, basically, but don't give up on it entirely. Right? Like the whole reason maybe that you came up with that idea was because you thought it was interesting. And that's enough to work on it, right? If you feel like this idea that you came up with is interesting, then that's reason enough for you to keep working on it. But if after so much time and effort, you're still stuck, then don't throw it away, right? Just keep it in reserve and come back to it after you work on like other projects, maybe, right? So yeah, and also just don't give up in general. You guys keep on making manga, and we'll see you around on the channel. Right, next weekend we are going to be reviewing, not reviewing, we'll be interviewing one of our other students this weekend. um this student is someone who's made like a significant progress in the program, and I have, like, the coaches and I have been personally like really impressed with. So if you want to meet one of our other students in our program, then tune in next weekend, you guys. And yeah, if you guys applied, let me know in chat. All right. And I hope to see you guys around in the program if you did apply. All right. And thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day, you guys. Bye bye.